Our next performer is Isabel Bermudez, who is a poet and short story writer. I've also seen Isabel perform at the open mic evenings here at the Poetry Cafe over the summer. I've been very impressed by her work. She was born in, is it Bogota or Bogota?
Bogota.
Bogota. I'm having a problem with my words tonight. But grew up in London, and she's had some success in poetry competitions with poems shortlisted in several competitions. But she's also made a documentary film which was screened on Colombian State Television and at the Cuban Film Festival in 2000. So not just a poet, lots of things going on there. But please give a big dodo modern poets welcome to Isabel Bermudez.
Thank you and hello everyone. I'm going to read 5 poems in this first section, 4 of which have got to do in Colombia. Although I've lived here most of my life, it's where I was born and returned to live for several years as an adult. The first poem, however, is about my mother. She's a fabulous cook and started really long before it became fashionable, when even garlic was considered something really rather exotic. And I wrote this poem for her. It's called The Total Reorganisation of Everything. It takes 3 days at least, means everything is thrown into chaos. The jars in the kitchen relabelled, reorganised. Ingredients of past meals in half-finished pots, seasonings, and all the cookbooks put in alphabetical order. It means pans as well, casseroles and serving spoons, and all the paraphernalia accrued over 30 years cooking for a family. What's this for, I ask. I've forgotten, or can you believe it, I don't know. Do you want a garlic press? I've got 3. There's arequipe on the side and chorizo in the fridge, from knives and forks to lemongrass and ginseng, nutmeg, cinnamon, juniper and marjoram. Your father's ordered new spice shelves off eBay. I've done the cutlery and I've learnt how to use this. Today she's trying a new recipe, pork belly and squid. Only not the squid, red cabbage instead. I was going to do vegetables, only look at the state of the kitchen. You know, yesterday I asked him to bring a carrot, she says, but he came back with 3 tomatoes. After we've eaten, her face breaks into its lovely smile. Did I make enough? Is the oven still on? Wearing an old tracksuit, no makeup, the kitchen upside down, lunch come and gone. I've been flat out all day, she says, and I'm so fed up with battling the early dark, the snow, the grey, with unjumbling cupboards. Take the garlic press, she says. Please, have something. Walking by the Thames with my mother at Mortlake in southwest London was the inspiration for this poem, which is called Viento de Agua. Viento de Agua. We walked by the river at Mortlake in a sudden gust of wind rumouring rain on a grey March day with dull green dock and last year's rosebay willow herb, muddy brown of sycamore, ash and alder. Viento de agua, you say. In Bogota, umbrellas sell a sprout on the Avenida 19, crying paraguas, paraguas, and where you had your farm, cow hands look up, pushing back black and white circles of woven cane-leaf sombreros. Everything tells me this is the same wind, wherever and whatever the language. But here's something else. I feel it dying out the way our grandmothers talked, becoming rare, like the habit of reading skies. As someone once said to me at a party, "Oh, the way you talk," she said, "it reminds me of those old Bogota ladies." And I thought of my great-aunts, the way they said "regio" and "hazme el favor," slept fat on their backs como soldados, looked through Persian blinds at the grey blush of old man's beard on the far wall, swaying trees, and sighed for a wind that brought us here or took us back, with its drift of old souls, its promise of water. Thank you. My great-aunt's maid, Berta, was incredibly loyal and funny and intelligent, and she ran my great-aunt's house like absolute clockwork, and this poem is for her, Berta. She was slim once, but now she's sturdy as a tree. Up and down the stairs she goes, vacuuming red carpet, dusting, polishing like a whirlwind, and anything La Tia wants. Berta? Ya voy, she cries. She takes La Tia to collect her pension, does battle with the men behind their counter. She's nobody's fool. At the supermarket, she scoops up flour, pineapple, plantain, hearts of palm, plunders every aisle in 10 minutes flat. Then she's back with a cackle to frighten the devil, her beer in the fridge. 45 years old, she's a force to be reckoned with. Dark eyes, curly mane, black leather jacket and jeans, her back end a cook's, her face a queen's. She up and down those stairs she goes, scrubbing bathrooms, waxing wood. She's bought a little house, been saving all these years, ministering to La Tia. Is it love she feels? Then, after 2 whole decades, she's out of luck. La Tia dies. A great hullabaloo about a pension, surely after all this time. Finally a settlement's reached. She goes back to her hens and her chicks. But all those years of stairs and standing up, hours scouring the stove, listening to Radio Recuerdos, her struggle with her girls in aquel pendejo of a husband who was nothing but an idiot, un imbécil, and somewhere in her right thigh, a hard fact, dark as plum under grey bloom, el émbolo, the clot. And now another poem about another house in Bogotá, known in the old part of Bogotá, which is called La Candelaria, and it's called La Casa de la Candelaria. In Bogotá, circa 1949, you, my grandmother, my 10 great-uncles and aunts, Mama Titi and her mother and father before that, in their high-backed wooden chairs, would stare across the years at family resemblances, the maid serving fruit salad. They'd tell stories, then pause in their chat as the afternoon spilt its borders. Like a basket of hanging plants, the house, so your story goes, with 2 kitchens, inner and outer courtyards, and red geraniums, all long gone, all that. Today, after the comfort of food and wine, in my tiny English garden, the table falls silent as years ago in the Earl's Court flat, when visiting great-aunts would raise a crooked finger to the cheap clock, speak in that foreign tongue, Pasó un ángel. That same drawing together, each lost to the grasp of some private thought, or pausing to remember, as I fetched the fruit in the deep-sided china bowl you've forgotten giving me, when everything was divided up. Surprised to see it now, clasped in both hands, its painted rim, green, blue and gold, encircling mangoes, apples, grapes, sometimes car keys, cards and letters, remnant of Mama Titi's dinner service that shrank over the years, disappearing soup tureens, sauce boats, dinner plates, smashed or cracked or still floating somewhere about, this bowl which belonged in my great-grandmother's house, where the parts connected to the whole, where everything was once intact. And my last poem for this first half is called Uno Más, one more for my old friend Luis de Silueta. Uno Más. Like a Spanish prince in a voluminous silk shirt above a sea of heads, you stroll down the Avenida 19, a tall, bald man of 85, going out with me for that forbidden drink. Un personaje del centro, people said. Un personaje. Over a glass of rum you marvelled at how the women of Bogotá had grown so tall and lovely. It takes a particular kind of talent, a deftness in the art of fictional endings, to visit me like this, so long after your death, relayed on that long-distance line. Your heavy Spanish accent echoing our conversations in those downtown bars where you talked and I listened, to tales of Spain, and Hollywood and old Bogota. You spoke of my grandmother's house as I leaned closer to listen better, the celluloid of those dimming eyes, replaying the film of the past as I lean forward now in cinema dark, before this small town drama of the Civil War in the Colombia of over half a century ago, where men wore ruanas and sombreros, spoke in the slow, steady speech of campesinos. Here you are, some 40 years younger on this London screen, a man in his prime, before industrialization, before los narcos, la guerrilla, tecnología, a time that's like an abandoned house, where only the ancient gardener knows the whereabouts of the key, and now he too is gone, the fence broken, the garden overgrown. Just one more, I hear you say, uno más, and see it come alive again, that other country, that distant past. Thank you very much.
More applause, please, for Isabel. Wow. We're hearing some very rich voices tonight, aren't we? The Scottish Aberdeen of Eve and the Colombian Spanish from Isabel. So it's very, very rich evening so far, and it's going to continue that way because our next performer is Zolan Quabble, and Zolan and I have worked together off and on for more than 30 years, I guess. And he is a fine poet. He's also in a band called One True Dog, and in fact he's got One True Dog's CD on sale here tonight, which is called Walkies. That's cool, isn't it? So there you are.